Ali, malungitsin sumor kami Rokui, and welcome back to our show. Now, if you saw last week's segment and you paid attention till the end, you might recall that I mentioned we'll be having a very special guest on this week's episode. So, before I tell you who it is, as a writer, I must follow the rules of show and don't tell. But before we show, I have to tell you about our very special guest. Our special guest for this week is a very important figure in the public eye and when it comes to Palau's community. She used to be the former Minister of State, and she was also held a seat as Senator of the Palau Congress. She used to be the Attorney at Law as well as the Judge of Palau's judiciary. But most importantly, and what made her become a very important figure in my point of view, is that she was the advocate for the Family Protection Act. Now, if the first few clues didn't really, let's say, spark a light bulb in your noggin, that's all right, because I would like to introduce to you and welcome our guest, Madam Vice President J. Uduch Sengebau Sr.
Haling. May I, hello, I so want to say, nga ka-surprise guest. And I'm very happy mo sabihan mira TMC, makmal mira sulila TMC for this opportunity to be here this afternoon. Di ako mal mira sulila Mr. Mete, talgilngin mo sabihan interview nga elal afternoon. Before bol sa te alam gibom adado, I just want to say was sa ngartiang al lolitra te al to be able to serve the public as Vice President in the upcoming election November 5, 2024. Tial lomosyol why public service. Ako marangal mulwa se te elect to give back to the community. I get blessings that I've had in my life. Nga ka mal Kristiyano o marangal wase kita blakaklel o if rubakal Dios sa o makrail we make our plans in the rubakal Dios sa o makrail ya ultrokok lo mulwase ay gel plan sergidang mo ay say lo tira clear mokte karingi el girela klangarigi mga kamelo langita ra ngaser kamiu mo maskak sa gidal teal el wase may maklutal Vice President for another 4 years. And then mom sa te ala Mr. Mete tamo ko kageragel el gadira nga kale ak madibes lo isu se mokte kal nga kakmle eskra Mr. Mete ta so ka an magigarel the youth ngia represent our youth ako kalbol nga ngia ate ali lo ger nga kay gerel that they believe is important for them to know about me, about my thoughts, about Palau family first. To me, the family is the most important unit in our society. The family is the basic foundation. Though they don't celebrate the Constitution there, Eli, July 9th. So, Tial family is also the basic foundation of our human constitution. What makes us as a people. Mang segi dilo sa aklel, maulakarawil, support and more women, children, and the men in our families is really suwakal focus na rin suwakal malisi na rin girela ikal tulungal karabulur bela. So I'm gonna now give you Mr. Meteta the mic back and thank you.
Madam Vice President, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to interview you. Mm-hmm. Honestly, this means a lot because growing up, I used to listen to Family Hour on EPFM almost every morning and every afternoon. And through that show, it really helped open my eyes about the community and the other people out there. Mm-hmm. And I like what you said about family being the foundation because everything starts at home, at the family. Because when you look at stuff, you look at things locally, regionally, and globally.
Exactly.
And in those 3 tiers, everything starts at the house with family. And like family, families are comfortable with each other, and gidil other belao, we're all related in
Yes.
one way or another through
Yes.
blood, experiences, friendships.
Yes.
Ooy. So this is something I like to do with every new person I meet, just to kind of clear the tension and break the ice. I have 4 post-its.
Yes.
Each has a question or some sort of related topic. If you could pick one, and then I'll ask you about it, and you could give us your
Oh,
answer.
that's a great idea. Kamal Masaul.
Thank you.
So kay give. Oh, give yan.
So for those of you who didn't see on the camera, she chose this one.
Oo.
I wonder what's behind this post-it. I guess we'll have to see. Oh. So this post-it is asking, do you have any sort of special token or belonging that holds dear to your heart? Like what's the meaning behind it? Where'd you get it from? And why does it hold that special place?
A special token or belonging.
Yes.
For me. It's does not really belong to me, but it's very special, and I'd like to talk about my necklace because this is also it's about family. Matial olbingilek akol biyong ringilang akal albiilat cherom senior. So these are what we call our family jewels in a way. So this belongs to Jerome's father, Hambret Senior, and his mother. They both passed, Maria Senior. And the reason why it's so important to me is each piece on this necklace represents a lot of sweat, a lot of work, because it has to be earned through cultural obligations.
I see.
So the reason why it holds such significance to me is it connects me to my husband's family, but then also to everyone in the past who's had this piece, each one that changed hands many years down the line, and now I'm wearing it. And I've been wearing it for many years, maybe over 10 years now. But because I have to tell you, Mr. Mete, that I was just in Antigua and Barbuda. Diablo nga ray gagidali the Caribbean. Yo erak por se ko ay sulo saktir kam lomre kal nga omingeda ora ay gagidali Hatoho Bay State Government. So congratulations al mura Governor Ray Marino, Lieutenant Governor marukul adala olbil. Tamlo mo order mga ado at to Toby. So I don't know, that's Tobian language. Mapalawan, ma-English to mix. I came to realize, I always knew this, and they said when we go off island, and realize just how blessed we are to live here in Palau and to have our culture. So when I went there, they don't have their own language. They just speak English. So it felt so strange to just understand everything that they were saying. And made me realize just how fortunate we are that we have our own language, we have our own culture, and we're so blessed that to be other Belo. And that's a part of an independent nation, and we're connected through our families. So that's what it's special to me, is just the connection through my necklace of the many families that are related to me and my husband.
That really hit me here, because I relate in some ways. When my grandma gave me my necklace, she made this small joke about, you really have to live up to your family expectations and obligations, because when she says the sweat and blood and tears that went to this
Yes.
necklace. Literally, she meant blood, sweat, and tears because it's right here on the neck. Masalam lang. When you sew it, it just absorbs into the ovul.
Yes.
I mean, like, of course, I wash it,
Yes.
but like, it's
Oh,
just a thought.
Yes.
Oh, spiritually.
I say.
And our culture is a very big part of who we are and
Yeah.
what makes Palauans Palauan because it's our blueprint. It's the foundations of what makes today so, what's the word? Unique.
Yeah.
Oo.
And the reason why malgira dal malmol mal al mga ado algira la climate change and be an advocate for reducing at yal klayal there because the question that comes to mind now was because the people of Tuvalu are experiencing it now. So let's just take kayangal. So, sellable may sea level rise makayangal wala kalbalo or goes under. Abililyo may gagidi flata. Do we still have a culture? Sel bolak sel utama that sel chief title comes from a piece of land. So take it sel blila a chief for the or. Sel bolak say gidi a piece of land and what happens to our chief titles, our lineages, our clans. So that's why it's a threat. It's an existential threat to our existence
Yes.
as a people of Palau.
Oh, this isn't just threatening those who stay in Gayang. This is for everyone
Yes.
because the outer lying islands, if sea level rise were to continue, those would be the first to go. But just because they're the first does not mean we're going to be the next. So we all have to work together. Which brings me to my first question. It's kind of a 2-in-1. If you were to be re-elected into your position, what roles or how would you get the ball rolling to help battle the terms of cultural threats, but also keeping in mind the ecosystem and our environment?
Thank you, Til Amal Lungil. Very important question. So, we don't want to be a victim. That's a victim of climate change. So we have to be very proactive about going out into the communities and tiyang malungil question because as the vice president, I also serve as the chair of the National Emergency Committee. It's preparedness that we need to do. So we really need to go out into the communities to be able to help them to become more resilient and to live in sustainably. It's important that Mangira that focus on it and make it part of our daily lives. And gina that momsubal mo be able to combat the changes that we see as part of the rising sea level climate change that threatens our culture. Because as you know, what we do is more resilient taro. What we saw was, and I think this happened with the inundation of salt water, that goes into the Masay, and mo utay gal klabay gal long draw, tataro mangira dal lulsi gagi dal es al strain of taro crops al mo sabi el mo sisi al resilient. So we're doing that now thanks to Palau Community College, Dr. Tale. Shout out, rest in peace, and Mora, Thomas Taro, who was at he's passed, but he was at the CRE, Cooperative Research Extension, Al Malmilso by Gaygidial resilient taro crops that really sustains our culture as well. Lengwan, those spell marulakal, exchange, sakal, rather longalit. Low spell as a source of livelihood, and food security to be able to have.
Yeah, I love the comparison you made with resiliency and our one of our main delicacies, taro, because
Oh,
taro is very resilient. And
yes.
another resilient plant that I know of that's you can find anywhere is mangroves.
Yes.
Yes,
Halloween.
mangroves, they're like the middlemen of an ongoing environmental battle. Not
Oh.
only are they fighting the dangers and stuff that comes from the land, like such as erosion,
Yes.
but they're also protecting the land from ocean currents,
Yes.
storms, typhoons, and everything. And with mangroves, they grow in communities. So they grow together and they're always constantly reaching out, branching out. And I think that's a great allegory for people
Yes.
as communities, like a
Yes.
very strong Palauan community.
Yes.
We always tend to stay united because when you're
Like a network. Like
networking.
connected. Yes.
Because if like I give it, I don't want to say tatami, but I'm think weaving.
Weaving.
If
yes.
you weave it strong enough, it's not gonna break.
Right,
But
right.
if you're kind of not really putting effort into making sure your braids are tight, it's easy for something to get loose and sort of slowly but surely tear apart.
Yeah, kamal masound.
Oo.
All.
Oo.
Other belag. Yes, but yes. You know, actually, actually, kung bilingat odura, gagi dali Father Arthur Ledger from the Catholic Church about funerals. Catholics, they bring the coffin into the church, and he was saying we need to I get go local gina dal apply gel go shuka ngarigid into our practices magimlom sa dali senso malakaraat ingirel ngari say dal all mulo yarbe bula akahol before you start to bury. Yes, but so it's very important in our culture.
Yeah. It's very important to be resilient and also to be resilient as a community.
Yeah.
But we all know that resilience isn't just given or like you're not just born with it. It has to be something that's taught and practiced. Because you can plant taro, but it's not going to grow if you don't water it or
I
make
see.
sure that rats or chickens are not uprooting it.
Yes, exactly.
Ooy.
Gina dal malmol malo lo makareo ringi yeah.
Ooy.
Water it. That's great. Yeah, so I love your analogy about the mangroves. You know, the networking and how it's like the middleman because the runoff coming from Silabol Ul and you see the dirt coming down and mura in well absorbed in ito man di kalabortial daw. So yeah, we should do like I love mangroves or hashtag mangroves.
Hashtag Okoburs.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I can't take credit for that analogy though, because just a few weeks ago I attended this program, this like intercession program being that was hosted by one of our school health counselors, Counselor Amanda Shiro, and it's called the Emotional Support Program, where it's everyone supporting each other emotionally and mentally. And through that program, one of the special guests was Tirkal Adara Pikrik. So sing it.
Great, sing it.
Shout
out, sing it.
Shout
Tignan
out
ang
sing
Arben.
they shared that allegory about mangroves being resilient and how we as people can connect through others, through our emotions and mentality to kind of strengthen those bonds between us so that we can all grow and be resilient to the challenges, mental challenges, emotional challenges, social challenges.
Yeah, Malungil, and I'm very happy that you took part in that because I find that young people today really need to have that support. Yeah, the support in order to be resilient, to have that family support, school support. You know, your friends that are able to connect with you and be able to provide that very big support that keeps you sane. I say, so that's great.
Yeah. So I just want to get that and then connect it back to our very beginning about foundations and how a strong foundation is very important. So even if you weren't, because we have to consider all the possibilities, but what would you do in your power to make sure that those foundations between not only the families but the youth, to those foundations to remain strong and resilient? Like, what would you do to help them, or your thoughts about it?
Okay, so I've thought about this for some time because I've been really an advocate for families for over 10 years now. And I thought that working with the state governments, and you just be able to do almost like a census-like uh, information about each state. In order to support families, you need to know and strengthen families. Just how many families you have in your community. Each household, who is in that household, the father, the mother, and I've seen these records from 1960s. In the 1960s, they really did census, and they go house to house, and I guess they still do now, but maybe it's every 10 years. But if we could have each state government do their own census, so we can see just how many young people, I mean, down to how many 15-year-olds live in this community as of today. Yeah?
Yeah.
How many 15-year-old boys live in this community today and girls? Because in order to be able to provide support, to provide strengthening of the family and to keep the foundation intact, you need to know what is needed to keep the foundation intact. Mr. Metet, we're less than 20,000 people.
Yeah.
We're smaller than many big universities in the States. We can know everything about each person within its community, in its state. And so I'd like to be able to do that. If I may say, adim na 6 months at Minister of State. The reason why I wanted to go to Ministry of State was not foreign affairs. I wanted to concentrate on domestic affairs. And domestic affairs is a relationship between the national government and the state governments. And to be able to bridge and to provide support through the family. So we're at this national government, but it's the state governments that are at the local level. Yeah, there. So, so we can support through the state government. So, I that's something that I'd like to see.
Like to see.
Happen. Oh,
Do you have any plans or thoughts or opinions regarding maybe possible programs that might help the situations?
yes. So there's I know that the Ministry of Health, Director Sher Madraisao is the Director of Public Health. I know that they do outreach to the various states to look at families, and they actually kind of do support and do outreach in the states. But I want to go beyond that, and maybe with the president and the amendments to the Compact of Free Association, so we see a lot more funding coming down. Other bilal nga Marigel are eligible for Medicaid, Medicare, and they're going to be eligible. That already 2 years ago they were. They're going to be eligible for food stamps.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'd like to look into that. To me, that's just social justice. To look at the vulnerable populations and to see how we can help them to be able to be maybe more independent, but give them more strength to be able to take care of their families. Sige. So, I'd like to see in the next okay, so I'm mga Vice President. That's kind of where I want to focus on, like a ministry on social
justice,
yeah,
and equity and equality.
Yes, exactly, that kind of ministry. Maybe convince our president was created the ministry of social justice, equality, equity. Yeah, Ministry of Women. What do I say?
Yeah, so it's great that they're helping the I don't want to say minority, but like the smaller population. So that will lead me to my next question. How will you work to ensure that all voices in our community are heard and represented, and not just the digidal other belao? Because I know got our other belao sa slogan na surang whips.
But there are others.
But then we also have to keep in mind tirakal kelo panggeta tirakal foreigners, foreigners workers and mga families are there. So how would you work to tackle those?
Mangkora maldiway tegi del black smoothie that we need to know our community. We need to know, like for example, you know, Minister Mutual has statistics on the number of Bangladesh or foreign workers on each in each state. It's the same concept that we'd have the statistics for each household to say what do they need, and so we'd be able to provide their say al ngasew sell to give them a voice. That's kind of a segue kaman misulang for me to say Panyamira Erngol Central Park Rakloko at 11:30 a.m. Rakloko Thursday, July 11th. And let's talk. The important thing is to be able to provide a platform or an opportunity for different voices to be heard. What I have learned in my years yung kamle akmla sa Attorney General momre yamlo judge 8 years of judge sira ko tal soy bakmle associate judge in court. When I went there, I already knew these people like adralla, so I'd had engagement with them, so I already knew who they were. But sira pong posortir, you know, I took time to talk to each one of them. To say, how do you do these things? What's the process that you go through? Is that process something that you follow? How about this alternative way of doing it? What do you think of it? Is that more effective, or you think so? I'd like that style. To me, that's my style. It's a consensus type of leadership, and so that's what I would apply to to give voices. You need to be able to engage everyone, but engaging is actually going out into the communities and knowing the details of each family, of each of the ages, the age groups, and what we need to hear from them. Yeah, so I think that's also very Palauan. So there's women's groups, a men's group. We need to create aldabe for the very young ones that. But you know, I got aldabe ako tal lungil. I must give a shout out tal morsel aldabe ramal kayo karangaram aror. Because you know, Mr. Metet, you young generations now, you're already very well equipped with information that you need. And I'm going to say this, and it might be an embarrassment to many of the young people. You kind of already can Google menstruation. Oh, why do women menstruate? What kind of products do I need? At our age, we didn't have that, and our parents didn't think it was something that we should discuss. So we would learn about that information through our friends, our sisters, our cousins. So you have your group of friends and aunts, those young hip aunts that you have, and classmates, but people that you felt you trust, that you can ask those kind of informations. That same concept must translate to the youth of Palau. So we have these groups that and they have maklol older ones, almor are magigrel at, even elementary school age boys.
Oy.
So that's the support. That's their mangrove. Say oburs.
Oy.
So we need to have oburs for magigrel at in each of our community.
Oh, I agree. Because there's that really famous saying that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Marang. So marali na daw hashtag oburs. Yeah, oburs for the youth. Yeah.
Maybe there's a better way to say it, but to the audience, we'll let you figure that out.
Hindi ako malungin. Yeah, so thank you for that question. I was very happy to answer it. I'm so glad that I'm share the thank you meeting they talked about obors because wow, that's a really great really analogy of our system, our
Yeah,
culture.
I was very grateful for the experience.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I was only able to attend the first day,
Yeah.
but that first day meant a lot for me because personally, sometimes I go through my personal struggles that I tend to forget that I have a support system with my friends and my family.
Yeah.
So that program itself was very eye-opening, and I am very passionate when it comes to the youth and our voices being heard,
Yes.
but I'm also passionate about keeping the tradition alive.
Yeah.
And I feel like the older generation, should really have like a bigger role when it comes to raising the younger community, because they have a lot. You all have a lot that you could still teach and pass on, and sometimes there's those barriers of miscommunication where one side doesn't want to hear the other, or we feel that we don't understand each other. But like I said, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes strong communication, foundations in trust, being comfortable with one another. It's those small yet big key points that will make a lot of things so much stronger.
Marang, completely agree with you, and thank you for sharing that. That's something that we need to take forward to always think about how to engage with the young people. So lang.
I would just like to ask one more question,
Yes.
if I may. So this question is asking, where do you see Palau in 10 years, and what role do you hope to play in that future?
In 10 years, ako marang alwas ito na moptokar other below. We need to have more Palauans born in Palau. Mangkorog yung tiyang adolitra the OEK to seriously consider maternity, parental leave for not only the public sector but for private sector. Right now, if you're working in government in what is called the civil service system, you get 30 days. 30 days maternity leave is nothing. Ang alaga, a baby born goes to his or first doctor's visit at 6 weeks. 6 weeks is over a month. A month is 4 weeks. So at least I'm increasing kung mo 2 months in the civil service sector, tigyan nga civil service, but a good amount to start with is 3 months. And so it's alarming. We're relocating outside of Palau. A lot of young people, young families are going to the Morabrigel, United States. As you know, the Makasay, so we have to import labor. So what I think about is, matyang mabulurir watang. Who's gonna live here in Palau? And I realized, we're so blessed to be from Palau, to live in this island. It's our inheritance from God and from our ancestors. But that's where I see a lot of Palauans in 10 years living in Palau and having children. I when I was still a senator, yak na introduce Rabil, give out 1,000 to each woman who gives birth to a child as an incentive to help pay their hospital bills, but as an incentive to have more children. Like, malmaral mo bring lang ako. So I'd like to say that, and I'd probably still be in politics. So hopefully, in 10 years time. But sige, that's something that's very strong in my heart. Talking about the basic foundation of families, we need more families in Palau. Healthy families.
Healthy families.
I say. Thank you. May I also kind of expand a little bit on my plans? Okay, so I as I was saying, I kind of see myself hopefully still relevant in politics in 10 years. But I'd like to take this opportunity and speak to the young people. This is about, gender equality. It's about equity, and as a member of the United Nations, we have the Sustainable Development Goals that we need to achieve as part of the international community as a member of the United Nations. Still, gender equality number 5 talks about, it's not about women, it's about having opportunities, and men and women and boys and girls being part of the society. Equal opportunities for both young boys and young girls, for men and women, for the elderly, for the persons with disability. It's equality for all persons. But I'd like to say that we need more women in elected office. I really encourage all the young people to please go to vote in November. Exercise your right to vote. It's your fundamental right. And in order for your voice to be heard, that's by checking a box. That's like your voice saying, this is who I want for the leadership of Palau. And I want to say that Palau is made up of 50% men and 50% women. Our Congress operates on one person, one vote. That's how we vote. One person has one vote. So if 50% of the population of Palau is made up of women, 50% of the member of Congress membership should be women as well. Let reflect the people that we represent in these seats. The members of Congress, mga executive branch, who are elected into office, we represent the people. The people is made up of men and women, boys and girls. So that representation must be reflected in the Congress. Malduma kung litrate alan mo, Vice President, we know that the next president of Palau is going to be a man. Let me be the woman, Vice President, to be at the leadership to represent Radadil, half of the population. So that's why I strongly believe that I should be your candidate. Malolingita sengkyor kami mamlat ka for the office of Vice President. So kami ay kalikaran my soapbox again. I hope man mamot adul.
It's
something
right.
that I'm so.
It happens to the best of us. So once that spark is lit, sometimes it just keeps burning, but you always need to. Nandis makalimutan to really thank you for this opportunity to interview you and to use this as the voice to the people, our audience, so they're informed and can be. Sorry, let me rephrase that. So they're informed, but they're also aware of what's happening, what needs to be changed, but also your points and views on what you believe is going to be right and what you're working hard towards.
I hope I was able to express clearly what my aspirations and what I'm very passionate about. I also want to say that I'm very fortunate makurang asula larabong raidong ayawal toribiyong TMC yung Royal staff here for this opportunity to be here, because any decision you make, you must make an informed decision. Ma tiagi di alme mga adu or kaw, mga adu or adrablu lagi utiang. Asabihin ko kumastrirar adrablu, the voters, the constituents, the people in our communities, some information that hopefully they will be able to use to make an informed decision on November 5, 2024.
Oh,
So thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
Ako man misulang ang adrablo, mosu besa sumaktalibel ko kuraman lo. Very passionate about some of the statements I made, mosu bes, but that's how strongly I feel about this issue about equality. So
Thank you.
Magok next.
So we're about to close the program. I would just like to take this moment before we end to thank all of you viewers watching. Thank you for tuning in to this very special program. I would just like to share with you one phrase that a teacher of mine always says: "You are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences."
I love
You
that.
cannot expect to be heard if you don't take the initiative to speak up and initiate conversation or whatever needs to be initiated. Makamran masulang, I wish you all a safe week. Be safe, make good choices. And Madam President, one more thing. It's not a question. It doesn't take any thoughts required. I would just like to play one game of rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
One,
Rock,
2,
paper,
3.
scissors, shoot.
You cheated because you had hope for a little bit.
That can be debatable, but yes. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you all for watching. Till next time, this is KT signing off. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.